Welcome to Echoes of the Arena. We're going to call this a redemption short. Um, we decided to throw a show together real quick as we saw the news come over the wire that Alexander Mogilny is going to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, which Dad and I were talking about it and decided, well, let's just talk about this on camera um, and do a short podcast. So. We were just discussing this, what, a month and a half ago?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah. That was episode 2, or
Hmm.
if we count this, this is actual episode 6. We said last one was episode 6. It was actually episode 5. I think we got fooled by doing some of those little recordings, but be that as it may, Mogilny headed to the Hockey Hall of Fame this year, along with a cast of other folks that all seem to be very deserving uh, of the honor.
Yes, and yes, we were talking about this when we were talking about McGillney's defection and the fact that McGillney has the numbers to be in the Hall of Fame. And we were kind of surprised and we addressed the issues on why we thought he was not in the Hall of Fame. And there was no good reason for him not to be in the Hall of Fame. So
No,
uh,
the people
obviously you and
around
I,
him, the people around him are in, um, or are going to be in, as far as like where he stands on. I don't remember uh, what that statistic was, where they try to compare people or against peers from different eras,
right,
which is kind of interesting in and of itself. But even using that statistic, the players around him were already in the hall.
exactly.
So uh, the cast this year start with the big names, Zdeno Chara, who tortured us for years, Joe Thornton, Duncan Keith, and Mogilny. Um, per NHL.com were 4 of the 8 individuals elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame on Tuesday. So Chara, Keith, and Thornton were all elected. Those were all first ballot.
Right.
Did any of those surprise you?
Not really, but
As far as
obviously,
first ballot, I guess I would ask.
yeah, I don't think in my opinion, I don't think so. I think everyone deserved to be first ballot. I just think, everyone was an impact player for their team. Zadaro was an Iron Man, playing well into his 40s and winning a cup with Boston.
Did
I
you
was
just call
looking,
him Zadara?
this is- did I say
I
Zadara?
think you did. It's okay. Um,
Um,
Zdeno Chara
the Dano Chara. Zadar was, I guess, his given nickname from me, I
from you.
guess.
I
The
have hold on for a second. I have a Chara story.
Okay, go ahead.
Um, so I knew so a good friend of mine, Dad, who you know,
Hmm.
uh, went to chiropractic school
Yes.
and with somebody who ended up marrying a gentleman who used to play for the Sabres.
Okay.
He, um, I don't really want to say the name, but anyway, I was at his apartment um, one evening playing cards,
Right.
and he had encased in glass a helmet that had a giant chunk taken out of it by a hockey puck. And this gentleman had taken a slap shot from Chara to the head,
Wow.
and it basically destroyed his helmet. And he had him sign it. And I think he signed it something like, hey, so and so, nice block, all the best,
Right.
Z or something. Uh,
I, I would guess that he had quite a heavy shot.
I have to imagine he routinely was winning in his prime, was winning the hardest shot competition, right?
Yes,
He
yes.
was, but I imagine that that shot was even heavier because of
Hmm.
how tall he was and just the
Yes.
amount of leverage that he'd be able to get on the puck would, I would imagine it's just very heavy.
Well, he was 6'9". I don't know if that's, or he is 6'9". I don't know if that is with skates on or
That's
without
not with
skates,
skates. That's
but
without
either,
skates.
yeah, either or. He's a big man with a lot of power. And I applaud him for his ability his longevity, able to play meaningful hockey that, well into his 40s.
Yeah.
I I want to also comment on actually I went to grad school. When I was in grad school in the late 90s,
Hmm.
uh one of the guys who was part of our cohort, half our cohort came from Canada, uh
You don't say.
Ontario. And this particular gentleman that I got to know uh knew Joe Thornton. They grew up together, played hockey together as kids. And
Joe Thornton?
Yeah, Joe Thornton. And Joe was just about getting ready to be drafted, I believe, when I was in grad school. And
Yeah, that's about right.
he thought Joe was going to have a really stellar career. I was reading today, and I'm kind of glad this happened because I think there's too much emphasis on, okay, uh, do you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Well, you haven't won any championships. You haven't won a cup. You haven't won a Super Bowl.
You
Do you
haven't won the
really
team
belong?
trophy.
Yes.
Do you
So,
belong in this individual hall?
yeah, well, I think you do, but I think a lot of
Silly.
a lot of the conversation is that, well, do you really belong? And there's kind of this doubt out there, which I'm so happy that Joe unfortunately missed winning the cup
Right.
due to trades and what have you, and other happenings. But he certainly has the numbers to be a Hall of Famer. So
He
I'm
had
really
some.
happy.
I had I pulled up everyone's stats, the four players that I was familiar with, and we'll touch on the other four that were inducted. Um, so once again, the NHL players are Zdeno Chara, Mogilny, Duncan Keith, and Joe Thornton. But looking up some of Joe Thornton's seasons, Dad, I mean, the amount of points in some of these seasons was a lot. That 06-07 season, he had 114 points in 82 games
Yep.
and 114 points and only 22 goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he had 92 assists.
Well, hard worker, tough in the corners.
Really,
Certainly,
really creative, had eyes
yeah,
all over.
big. Big, you don't want to, again, he's a guy that when he goes on the ice, you want to make sure you know where he was because chances are
Well,
he was going to
early in his career,
here quickly.
early in his career, he was in triple digits penalty minutes for 3 seasons in a row and then had 98 in one season right after that. So he was racking up enough penalty minutes for people to know maybe not to push his buttons too much. He's a pretty big dude too.
He's a big dude, yes.
He's 6'4", 220.
Yeah, big dude,
So
yeah.
big dude.
He uh he also could be in the Beard Hall of Fame. He had a great beard
Oh,
towards the
he
end of his
did.
career.
That's the one that's showing on the Hockey DB page that I'm looking at right now, and
Yeah,
it's quite
yeah.
epic. Um, Duncan Keith, the other one. Any thoughts on him?
Uh
Didn't he play with Ryan Miller at Michigan State?
he might have. He might have caught Ryan. He might have been
I'd have
a
to check that out.
freshman.
We're
He
not
might have been
sure.
a freshman while Ryan was a senior. But yeah, played it like you said. Played it. He was a Spartan. Played at Michigan State. Solid uh, two-way defenseman with the Blackhawks.
Mhm.
Won three, I believe, Stanley Cups with the Hawks.
Let me see.
Played 17-year career. He was with the Hawks for 16 of those years, so he really gave his heart and soul to one team. I don't even know what the last team was that he played for the
Oil,
last year.
the oil.
Was it the Oilers? But a very deserving. Again, certainly not surprised
He had
that he
some
was the
really
first
good
ballot.
seasons as far as points in
Yeah.
the middle of his career in his prime. When he played a lot of games, he put a decent amount of points up.
And if I remember correctly, he also showed up in the playoffs. He was instrumental
Yes.
in numerous Stanley Cup games. So uh,
I
very
think
deserving.
I think it shows here, yes, I think he won three Stanley Cups. Um, one of those cup years, he had 21 points in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, no, he had some
Another
really
one he
good
had
playoffs.
17. When he went, they went. So
Yep.
really good career. Second round pick. But yeah, so and then obviously Alexander Mogilny, who we've talked about ad nauseum, but kind of wanted to, hop on
He
here and
was
I
the
guess
guy.
gloat that we were right. Not necessarily at our listeners, but at the hockey establishment. We've been right this whole time.
After you broke the story to me, which I was, very surprised that it happened, and
I was too,
certainly
actually.
deserving. And now my thinking is because there was there's some talk about him, really, he's in Russia, he's there, he's doing his thing with the KHL. And I'm just wondering, will he come? I'm assuming he should. Will he come back to North America for the induction? Um, I hope he does because
I hope so.
it was very deserving.
I think that was one of the reasons that I had read was why he wasn't in, was because they believed that he wouldn't show up.
Okay, okay.
Um, I think at the time I said, and I still believe that's not a good reason for somebody not to be in the hall.
It's not a good reason. I also think he's
What if
a
the person's dead and it's a posthumous one? They're not, what are they,
I yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they're not gonna
exactly.
rise from the dead to come to accept a trophy or stand next to a bust for crying out loud.
Once again, I think it was the media, or whoever was they were kind of insinuating he was aloof and what have you. And I think that
I,
he more had that he has more of that Russian stoicism about him. And
it's not aloofness.
this
Yes.
chapter, yeah, that chapter was over, and
Yeah.
now he's back home and doing his thing in the KHL. I don't think it was a thing. Yeah, I don't think it was anything that he had any issues he had. I think he just, he's in a area now where he's happy. But again,
He was a guy that showed up in the playoffs enough that I
he
don't need
was,
to
no, he was.
question, but like obviously not for us, although my buddy Dave texted me earlier and he swears that had we gotten through Montreal, we'd have won the cup that year.
Very possible. Very
I-
possible.
It's it's possible. We had a
Well, I think there were two incidents that the Sabres kind of got screwed. And it was that year with Montreal was in the way and they were having a
well,
great
they were a
season. They were a
buzzsaw.
great
So it's
team.
like, yeah, if you didn't I guess
And
at the
I'm
end of the day, it's like, yeah, if you didn't lose to the best team, you would have won.
and I'm also convinced that if we didn't have the mounting injuries to our defense core against Carolina,
Don't
we
even get
would
me
have won the
started.
cup.
Because that
We would have
Oilers
won the
team was
cup
ripe to get
because
blown away, and
we would have beat the
Carolina
Oilers.
limped past them.
Yes.
I
Well,
think
they
if
lost
we
their goalie the
just,
first game
well,
of
that's
the
because
final.
Carolina ran him.
So, well, would it have happened against the Sabres? I don't know, but I think that year we were the better team. So,
Yeah,
anyway,
I
that's
I'll take that to my grave.
yeah, that's you know pure conjecture. We don't know. Uh, so yes, Sidaro. Did I say it again?
You did.
Sidaro. He's that's his nickname for me.
Well,
From
that's
me.
it. Zadaro.
He's deserving. Gilney definitely deserving. Duncan Keith deserving. We've got a few others that I'm very happy that were called to the hall.
Brianna Decker, which is a U.S. women's national team forward, who I do remember. Didn't I think she had a bunch of big goals in the Olympics?
He had a lot of goals in the Olympics. He
I
was a
know. I remember it wasn't the
very good.
last Winter Olympics. I think it was the one before that where she was just scoring like lights out. And then Jennifer Botterill, Canadians women's national team forward. Admittedly, I know nothing about.
Well, actually, I saw her play in college, and A, she was a better player than her brother was, and
Well, we have thoughts on Jason, but I'm just gonna keep them to ourselves.
and B, I remember that we were invited to play a game. Your sister's Buffalo Bison team was
Mhm.
invited to play a game at Niagara University, and I forget who we played, but we played a league game prior to the Harvard Niagara game. And that was the year that Harvard was one of the top women's programs in the country. And they had Jen Botterill, Angela Ruggiero, Julie
Oh,
Chu on that
Ad
same team. They were an amazing team that year. And
Adri played
she played
with
with
Rogerio, didn't
she
she?
played with she played with Lindsay Wall, who was a
Oh, you're
member
right. You're right. You're right.
who was a member of the 2002 Olympic team
Although,
that won silver.
um, I do know someone who went to school with Angela Ruggiero, though.
Who happens to be in she's also in the Hall of Fame.
She's also in the
She
Hall of
went,
Fame,
she went in a
Hockey Hall of
couple of
Fame.
years ago, which again, very
Actually,
deserving.
several years ago, because I
Yeah, it
want
was
to
at least
say
three,
that
four years ago.
yeah.
But
Um, then the other
and
two were general manager and coaching consultant for Canadian women's hockey, Danielle Sauvageau, I believe it's pronounced, and former Boston University coach Jack Parker,
Jack Parker.
or
Jack was
as
an
Dan calls him,
interesting guy.
Jack
Yes, he
Parker.
was a very good coach. Players loved him. Had I believe he was still there when Jack Eichel was there. Is that true, or am I wrong?
Ah,
Or was Quinn there? And was it the first year of Quinn coaching the team? I'm not
I
sure,
think Quinn was there
but Jack Parker coached.
because I remember we had the conversation back then if we should bring Jack Quinn in as the
Oh,
head
that's right.
coach.
Okay, we did. I was kind of a fan of him, and then he kind of
Well, no, then he went to the
went
Rangers,
to the Rangers, and just things didn't pan out. But
but he was an assistant for one of the two teams in the finals.
oh, was he? Okay, I
Yeah,
didn't know that. Okay, there you go.
because I
So he might
saw
still get
him
his
in some
chance.
preseason. I saw him in some, not preseason, pregame stuff. Um,
And I believe Quinn played for Parker.
mm,
I
that would
believe
make
he's a
sense judging from
BU
his
alum.
accent.
Yes, I
Yeah.
believe he's a BU alum.
Hmm.
And but Parker, many championships. His games against Jerry York and BC were legendary. So again, very deserving, very good coach, and very happy to see that. I think this year
The
the
Hall
Hall
finally
has hit a home run.
did it right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the induction this year. I'm really looking forward to McGillney's induction. So
If hopefully he comes in.
I'm planning he's going to be here.
Yeah. Uh, I thought I would be remiss to not uh, tell you the quote, what Joe Thornton is quoted as saying when he found out that was going to be inducted. And I quote, "Holy doodle. I can't believe I'm receiving this honor. There's so many people I need to thank because I certainly couldn't have done this alone." Holy doodle.
Holy doodle.
That's funny. But yeah, I agree. I think that the from what I've read of the ones that I am not familiar with, they certainly seem deserving, and the ones that I am familiar with, I know are deserving, um, just from being a fan for so long
Right,
at this
right.
point. And it would be nice if we had some relevant hockey around here,
Yes,
after March.
because I'm assuming we are, and I'm assuming that going back to the Hall of Fame, I'm assuming I can't see why he wouldn't. Uh, Mogilny going as a Saber, since he spent the majority of his time playing with the Sabres.
That's a good question. He played almost as many years with the Canucks,
Oh, did he? I wasn't aware of that. I'm
but
hoping he goes in as a Saber.
I mean, I think we took the risk. He obviously took a colossal risk. So I don't want to
Yeah,
undercut that. But we also, you know, did what we, well, the Sabres did what they needed to do to try to secure him
yeah.
when he wanted to come over here. So I would hope so. But
And
um,
I would think Thornton would go in as a San Jose Sharks. I
I
believe
don't
he
know that
played
they even
most of
go
his
in with
seasons.
a team, Dad.
Oh, don't they? Okay. Well,
I know they do
that's
in the NFL.
well, NFL and Major League Baseball.
Oh,
They
do
do
they?
pick a team,
I don't like that.
but maybe they don't go in as maybe they don't go in, and that's probably a good way to do it because
Yeah.
you know
Well, I guess we'll find out
you
when
might
it
play 10
happens.
seasons with Team A and
Win
have
a
a good
cup,
career, but then Team B you might have a
win a couple
stellar
of
year,
cups,
a
and
record-breaking
put a
year or
yep.
two.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I did see before we sign off, I did see that we are shopping the ninth pick.
okay, okay.
Now,
Hopefully
I
for a
I
player.
swear to God, if they shop the ninth pick for more picks, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yes, I'm going to demand Kevin Adams firing right then and there because we have got to get bodies on this team that can
I'm not
produce.
suggesting that that is what they're doing. I'm sure they're trying to get somebody that's a roster player, that's somebody who's an impact.
Hmm.
They might want to think about getting a decent goaltender that could
I
offer
think
some
that would I
stability
think
for this team.
that would help. The name I've heard, and once again, a lot of social
Yeah, let's turn
media,
this into a Sabres bitch fest.
a lot of social media stuff is just BS. But I've heard Jake Allen's name mentioned, and I don't know
Is he
where
still relevant?
Jake Allen is. I don't know where he exactly is right now in his career. I know he's been around for a while. I think he was playing, the last I heard, he playing with the Canadians, which he didn't see much ice this year, if that was the case. So I don't know. But I think
I
we
don't
need
know
to,
about that.
I do
We need
believe
somebody better than that.
we need an anchor number one goaltender because right now
I
I don't
mean,
know about UPL.
I don't know about UPL, and I think you let Levi marinate as long as he needs to.
Hmm. Yep.
He'll he'll show in the AHL and in camp when it's time. And I feel like he kind of showed some of that last year,
Yeah.
but I think,
Yeah.
go out and do it again.
Right. Right.
I know nothing about Jake Allen.
That's the name I heard, and again, I don't know where he is in
He's
his
34. I'm
career. He's
not
been around a
interested.
long time, and maybe he's not even a starter. I mean, he seems to be probably a
He played for the
oh,
Devils last
wasn't
year.
always with the Devils.
Yeah.
Like when he was still with the
The Blues,
Blues, he was Bennington's backup, right?
they would
So,
get on those well, before Bennington kind of took the job, they were going back and forth. But once
right,
again, he got beat out for a job. He's 34 now. I'm not really interested in that.
and he's not really a. I don't think he's a candidate for being a number one goalie, especially for a team that really needs to make the playoffs this year.
And really needs stable goaltending. I don't know that he provides that at this point in his
Right,
career.
right. No, I agree. I
I'd
agree.
have to look at save percentages, but my guess is at this point, at this age, your save percentage probably starts to,
Right.
you know. You got anything else?
That's it.
All right. Well, this
Very
has been
good.
a quick.
I'm glad we had to put the show together because we definitely wanted to kind of pat ourselves on the back because we were adamant about the fact that Mogilny was
I would also say that
overlooked.
I would also say that I thought this for quite some time before we put the show together. I think we both thought for quite some time that there's really no reason why wait, wait, this guy's not in the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
you
Oh
know?
yeah, I
So,
know.
uh, but anyway, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Until next time, this is Matt and Greg signing off.